Welcome to another episode of the So-Called Oreos podcast, the podcast where we discuss all the awkwardness, hardships, and hilarity that come along with society labeling you white on the inside and black on the outside, also known as an Oreo. I'm Janae, here with my co-hosts.
He is smitten.
Amari Pollard.
It's
Um,
okay.
so guys, we've got some merch. If you haven't been like paying attention to our socials or anything like that, hop on over to So-Called Oreos on Instagram. You can peep out some pictures. Amari has been posting like some great stuff. We've all done little photo shoots and little videos. We've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, tote bags, mugs. This has been like such a journey and a ride for us, and we're just like so grateful to those of you who have been keeping up with us and who have been supporting us, and now we want to give you guys a little something in the form of merch. So yay.
Yeah, I think our merch is super cool. So you should totally check it out. You can find it, in our link tree, which is on all our social media. So just check it out. We worked really hard on it too, and we want to bring more, but we will not bring more unless you Negroes buy it. So please buy
it. and if we have any white listeners.
Oh yeah,
I always say non-black.
I always say Negroes in terms of like just everyone listening. But yeah, all you people, Negro allies, please get the merch. Yeah, we worked really hard on it, and our Patreon we just launched. Super disappointed by you guys, to keep it real, but hopefully you just do a little $5. You know what I'm saying? You got $5. Come on now, you got the stimulus. Only asking for $5 a month. But if you want more things like the So-Called Oreos group chat, I don't think you guys realize how dope our group chat is. So like you can get access through the Patreon. Just imagine if you had all of us as your best friends. I mean, that's worth like $100 a month in my opinion, but for real.
So today we wanted to talk about something that I feel loosely ties into, the new year and the ideas around the new year of like starting over and starting fresh. So like self-imposed deadlines and society deadlines are something that like to me was really, really interesting. Examples of that, in case you guys like aren't kind of aware of what I'm talking about, it's things like, getting your permit at 16, getting your license at 18, starting to drink at 21, starting to have sex, around the age of 18 to 25, and that age maybe even younger for some people. And just a little disclaimer, all of these things are slightly different for everyone depending on where you grew up, but I think every society, every culture has their own little set ages and set things that you're supposed to have done. And another one is graduating high school by 18, graduating from college at like 22, and then being in a set career or on a career path by the time you're 25. We want to do like a shout out to one of our followers. His name's Khalik, but he goes by Leaky Crowder. And he posted all about this. And this was a conversation that had been kind of bouncing around So-Called Oreos. But when I saw Khalik's tweet, I was like, wow, this is great. It was a tweet he put on Instagram. But when I saw the post, I was like, this is perfect. And just to read what he said, as millennials and Zoomers, it's harder for us to focus. Wow, sorry. It's harder for us because social media forces us to see these events or experiences play out for people at specific ages in real time. The timeline on certain things is always in your face. I don't know why that was such a struggle for me to read, but anyway, shout out to you, Khalik.
Also, congratulations to you, Khalik, because you got a new job at Snapchat.
Bravo. Yeah, he
did.
Bravo.
We
bravo.
love to see it.
We love to see it. We love to see a Black man doing his damn thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just thought that this was just such an interesting topic, and I think so many of us hold ourselves to these ridiculous deadlines, and we never question where they come from or if they should be challenged or changed.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think like, I guess if our listeners are the same age as us, like we're like mid 20s, I guess. 25, 26, 27. So I think it's like an interesting time because I think at that time, I would say about like 24, 25 is when your life starts to pivot from your friends. And I think it's like, we're in high school, we're all going to go to junior year next year. We're all going to like, if you're in the middle class, you're probably going to go to college and then you're all going to graduate at the same year. But then once you graduate, okay, we're all like getting our entry level jobs. We're all making dumb, stupid decisions. We don't got no money, whatever. But like now, once it's hitting like 24, 25, you're like, oh, some people are starting to get married. Some people are starting to buy a house. Some of us are single as fuck. Some of us are getting laid off twice. Some of us are, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, some of us are going through major breakups. It's just so different. Like, you could be polar opposite from your friends who your whole life you had the same thing. And now your life looks drastically different. And there's like nothing you can do about it. That's just life. Like, what life has given me is not what it has given my friends. And I'm not mad at them for it, but it's just like we can't relate to the same thing. Like, we just don't have the same life. And I think that's like, that starts to hit you at like 25.
And I think the ways in which your lives diverge, and like how like what I feel comfortable in some areas in my life, or like I know so I have like someone like some people do have the marriage and the career and whatnot, but I've also noticed that some friends I have feel more confident in their relationship than they do in their career, and I've always felt more confident in my career than I do relationships or something. So it's like I think that is interesting to see um how those things can be different. And I also, as I've gotten older, I've really liked people, or just like um professionals who are older and who have come into their career later on being highlighted. Like I like that because it's like, okay, just because I don't do it when I'm 25 doesn't mean I can't do it when I'm 50 or 60. Like I love the like Ava DuVernay. I love the I'm trying to think of like a different actor that like came into their career later in life. But I just like stories like that where it's like you can pivot and keep on pivoting. And it can happen for you. It doesn't just because you don't accomplish it by 30. Like also we need to stop these 30 under 30 lists. I think or like
Yes.
40 under 40 or 50 under 50.
I
like,
think those are so fucking stupid. Like you're highlighting people because they got lucky. That's really what it is, if you want to keep it real.
100%.
So it's a luck list. Like it's essentially like you got lucky. And I think like that's also something too that I want to see going forward is like the amount of like we don't talk about how much luck goes into success. And I think people have to realize it's at least 50%. And that's why on How I Built This, when these white motherfuckers keep saying, I think luck is 10%. Like, no, nigga, your whole life is luck. That was like 80% luck. Like, if we want to keep it real, because I think people are forgetting that luck is the family you were raised into. If your family was wealthy, if your family was even middle class, if your family was a 2-parent household, that's luck. If your parents could afford to go to college, that's luck. If you were white, that is lucky. That plays into success. If you just happen to find someone and get that job, that's luck. I think people are forgetting how much luck goes into these things. And even people like who like are lucky to be in relationships at like, let's say 25, like, okay, so now you have 2 incomes to buy a house at 27. That's harder for someone who's single. So I think people need to like also remember how much luck plays into like every aspect of their life. And I hate how that is not like brought up into like any of these interviews or like narratives. It's just like, well, I just worked hard and like, I just did it. Like, no, you didn't, sweetheart. Maybe you worked hard, but like maybe that was 40%. It wasn't like you're missing that whole 60% you had nothing to do with. Like, I think people need to do that too.
and I think it's so easy to be like on the other side of something and then like comment on it and like the process. Like you can be like, oh, I did X, Y, and Z, but like you're like, how am I trying to frame this? Oh, like this isn't, I guess this doesn't have to do with like self-imposed deadlines or whatever, but like earlier I was talking to my family about purpose because we watched the movie Soul, and that like got me on like some rabbit hole. But it was like, it's so easy for someone to say they have a purpose when they're on the other side of being successful. Like I've done this, so this must have been my purpose, when it's like, okay, but I think it's so easy to be on the other side of it and speak to that. Because if you didn't do it, I feel like you wouldn't be around and be like, this was my purpose, because you weren't
exactly.
you weren't successful at it.
And then people who like when you hear these, interviews and stuff like that, and people are like, oh, well, you know what? Just find your purpose and do that. It's like, is that really your advice?
If that's not the most daunting task ever.
Like, just do it. Just find your purpose and do it. It's like, if it was that easy, don't you think we would all just be doing it? Like, I just think that's wild because you hear so many famous people say stuff like that, and you're just like, I also have to worry about paying rent. I also have to worry about other things. I know you were rich in your way, and you just got to explore everything, and you just found something that clicked. But like, a lot of us have lives, and like, we have to do other things too. So it's like, of course, if I was just like on Instagram all day, I'm sure I would find my purpose. But like, yeah, there's other things too. Like, I just think that's so stupid. Like when people give that like bullshit advice of like, just do what you like. It's like, okay.
Or I think it goes along with the idea of like self-imposed timelines, because I feel like a lot of these things, like the timeline is very much tied to what we view as successful. Like if you're successful in love, that means you would have been like, married or had someone by a certain age. And I think we really need to change our ideas around success. And it's like, you can reach something, but not in the way that you thought you would. And that still is you reaching that goal. Like that is still you doing that. And so I just think the way Americans and just people in general view success is like, unless you're like widely known by people, unless you're bringing in all this money, like you have done nothing with your life or X, Y, and Z, you should feel bad about it. It's like, just because I didn't do something major doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't important.
Yeah, your life is not like less valuable than like Oprah's because she has reached X amount of people, but that doesn't mean like maybe you make just as many people feel good as Oprah does. Like, for instance, like your family, your best friends, like, maybe Oprah low-key is a shitty person, doesn't have friends and family. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be, these famous people can reach people in certain ways, but your life is also just as impactful and meaningful. And I think like what you said about the 30 under 30 list and the young people list, I feel like that's a huge issue because I feel like that's just who we highlight, like the Kylie Jenners or like Charlie, whatever on TikTok. It's like, we'll just reward her with all these things because she's young and she was able to do this. And it's just like, that's not real life. And like, most of us aren't going to like reach that status level, and that's okay. But that's like not who we highlight.
So thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. And don't forget to be kind to yourselves and stop with the self-imposed deadlines. Stop it. Follow us on all social media at So-Called Oreos, and you can email us at socalledoreos@gmail.com. As usual, you can listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, and Google Play, and subscribe and rate and leave a review, take the survey, buy our merch, get on our Patreon, do it all. Be in the Oreo gang. Be in the gang. Be in the gang. But all right, y'all, we're peacing out. Bye.
Bye.